We've set up a simple way for you to give to our church online. If you want to give a quick gift, enter an amount, select a fund, then enter your email address and your first and last name. Then enter your payment details and click Give. And that's it. We'll send a receipt to your email address. To use a saved payment method or manage a recurring donation, you'll want to log in. Click the login button and we'll send a code to your phone or email account. Verify the code and you're in. Now your payment info is ready to go when you want to make a donation. To manage your giving details, switch over to the My Giving page. Here you'll see more ways you can give. You can also add a payment method, like a bank account or a debit card, set up a recurring donation, and view your giving history.
Homework. How do we suss out idolatry in our lives? How do we find out where we struggle with this? Number one, what preferences do I make sacrifices to meet? What preferences do I make sacrifices to meet? We could say, whose preferences do I make sacrifices to meet? There's a difference between needs and preferences, right? Making 2 meals because little Johnny doesn't like it, well, that's a preference, okay? It's not an allergy or something, it's a preference. And it might not be good for little Johnny to learn that the whole world makes sacrifices for their preferences. Well, they like ketchup instead of barbecue sauce and we put both on the table. Not so much, right? What about someone who says, I make sacrifices for everybody? I make sacrifices for everybody. Well, perhaps you worship yourself or people because you want everybody to like you. It could be people pleasing. Maybe you make sacrifices for money or for work, which would point to money and possessions being an idol. Maybe you make sacrifices in your relationship with sex, food, exercise. You know, some people have made exercise an idol because they just want to have the perfect physique, and so it's 6 meals a day and working out and lifting every 5 minutes. It can happen. Or for sex, doing whatever you need for that relationship or to control someone, relationship with food. Maybe your thoughts, feelings, and emotions demand sacrifice of others. Oh, you hurt my feelings, you did this, you did that. And so then you're constantly asking others to sacrifice, not because they've crossed a horrible boundary, but because I have this preference and wish. It could be that you've set up your feelings as an idol. I think I've done that before. It's so easy to do. I said, well, this is so important. Well, maybe not. Maybe I sacrifice my feelings in that moment to serve others, to serve God. Number 2, what idols tempt me to worship them? So using number 1 and the things that came up here, what idols tempt you to worship them? Make a list, write these down. What are the things that come into my space and come into my time that I'm tempted to give more attention to, that I'm tempted to make sacrifices so that I can have a relationship with those things in my life? Number 3, confess my idolatry and ask forgiveness. Don't skip this. Don't skip this. Confess my idolatry and ask forgiveness. Moses said, God, will you pardon us? We know what kind of God he is. He's a God who's merciful and forgiving and long-suffering and slow to anger. So if we will confess it and say, God, I've got this relationship with money. I've got this relationship with people, this relationship with laws, this relationship with food or whatever. God, hey, forgive me. I didn't realize this, or I did realize this, and it's gotten out of hand again in my life. Please forgive me. God would love to forgive you. And then number 4, what sacrifices do I need to make to meet God's preferences in my life? I think this last question is so powerful to help you rejuvenate your walk with Christ and your walk with God. The way to stop worshiping idols is to start worshiping God. The way to stop worshiping idols is to start worshiping God. And you might think, and here's a bonus question, what are God's preferences? Do you know? Have you hung out with him enough to know what he likes? Is he a barbecue sauce or a ketchup god? I think that's silly, but we know all these little things about each other, and I don't know that God eats either of those, so, But what are his preferences? What does he expect in my life? What does he expect in your life?
Hello! Today we're going to learn that Jesus forgives when it's hard, so we forgive when it's hard. Not forgiving is kind of like carrying around something really heavy. It's hard to carry heavy things for very long. We might get hurt. In the same way, carrying around grudges can hurt us more than it hurts the person we're mad at. Let's see how Jesus forgave even when it was hard for him. God gave us the Bible, His special book, to show us how forgiving He is. The Bible helps us get to know God and reflect His forgiving heart. And God is here right now, ready to talk to you. Let's talk with God now. Our Bible story today is a very serious and sad one. We're going to learn about Jesus dying on the cross. Where have you seen crosses? Why do you think churches display crosses? Crosses are symbols of where Jesus suffered and died, which seems sad, but Jesus died to forgive us and ultimately came back to life. That's why Christians use the cross as a symbol of something good. Let's find out more about what happened on the cross. One thing Jesus experienced was physical pain. Think of a time you got physically hurt. Maybe someone else hurt you. Perhaps a sibling pushed you, or you got in a fight with a bully at school. We've all been hurt. Probably none of our hurts were as painful as being nailed to a cross. But listen to what Jesus said when people hurt him and nailed him to a cross. We're going to read Luke 23:34. Then Jesus said, "Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do." Let's forgive like Jesus did. Think about who you can forgive. Jesus forgives when it's hard, so we forgive when it's hard. It's hard to forgive when other people hurt us. Forgiving doesn't mean that we let someone keep hurting us, but it does mean we don't hold a grudge for what they've done in the past. Imagine being so mad at someone that you lose